This is a review of Math Doodles, created by Darren Karstens. Math Doodles is an educational app that is very interactive. You can find it in the App Store or on the Google Play Store. My name is Jeff Ferguson, and I'll be taking you through, slide by slide, this review. From the moment you open the app, it's very interactive and very engaging. Starting with this quote from the author, "When I was in school, I thought math looked like this," which a large majority of us will definitely be able to relate to. The author then tries to connect to his audience by hopefully creating a way that they can relate to him, by sharing his math class doodles. The paper on the left side folds up and unfolds again to reveal this next image, where it says, "As an adult, I discovered math also looked like this," connecting the two previous images and explaining that math can be doodles, math can be fun, and that students might actually enjoy math if they look at it from a different perspective. Even once you've reached the main menu, the app still maintains a very artistic feel to it. There are 4 games available to you at this present time when you open the app. The first is called Sum Stacker, the second is Connect Sums, the third is Unknown Square, the fourth is Splat Go Round. I really like this main menu. It's very artistic, it's engaging, and it really pulls the viewer in. If we click on the first game going from left to right, the first game is Sums Stacker. As you can tell, there are a number of different modes you can switch between at the start. If you look over here on the right hand side of the screen, you'll notice that on the left there is a number cube and there's a hand beneath it. I'll get to what those means in a second. The next one over is Solve Mode, and beneath that would be Infinite Mode. And then the final one is a difficulty modifier. If we go back to looking at that first modifier on the left hand side, where the number cubes were originally, you'll notice I've changed it to US dollars. There's a number of different modifiers you can change it to. This modifier is great if you want your students to practice adding various denominations of bills. Another very useful modifier is the bar fraction modifier. Bar fractions are great for enhancing visual awareness and spatial awareness when trying to build number sense for fractions. This is going to be great for your high elementary grades and your low middle school grades to help them understand what fraction values are and how to combine them. On this slide, you'll notice I've changed 2 things. First, I went down 1 modifier to change it to just fractions. I also changed it from easy to hard, which adds a 4th pedestal. Now I want to show you what it looks like once you actually start the game. You'll notice at the bottom now, under each pedestal, there is a value. Each pedestal has to add up to equal that value, the mystery value being the one remaining value at the end that you need to find. So you can simply grab a single bar fraction, or you can grab a group of bar fractions and move them to different pedestals to attempt to make it equal a certain value that is located underneath. It even displays the score mathematically. You'll notice over here it gives the students a score in moves to points, a ratio, which is pretty awesome. Elementary teachers may find it useful to set the number modifier to Hindu Arabic, which is also probably going to create a very interesting conversation explaining that Hindu Arabic is our current number system today. Next, I want to show you the next game over. We first looked at Sum Stackers. Now I'd like to look at Connect Sums. Just like in Sum Stackers, Connect Sums has the same difficulty modifiers that you can change and adjust the game to your preferences. You'll notice that if you look up in the top right corner, I've set it to Solve Mode and I have it on the easy difficulty. I've also selected the number modifier Hindu Arabic just to give you a demonstration of how the game works. You'll notice that in the top of the screen, an arm has appeared that is displaying the number 10. This is the sum that you need to connect the numbers below to equal. So since I have 3 and 2 selected, I need to find another number to combine with 3 and 2 to make a sum of 10. From what I can tell, you can select as many numbers as you need to get to the sum of 10. However, if you go over the sum of 10, the answer will be incorrect and you will lose a move and not score any points. If your sum does equal 10, the numbers will start to wiggle and then they will fade out. The arm will disappear, a new arm will reappear, and it will have a new sum. Here you can see that the three numbers I chose on the last slide have all faded out, and a new arm has appeared with the sum of 6. So I've selected two numbers that have a sum of 6, and the same process will occur. If you're in the higher elementary grades or in the lower middle grades, you might want to change your number modifier to fractions. This will allow your students to practice adding fractions to equal a determined sum. You'll also notice that I've changed it to the hard modifier of the solve mode. Hard modifier adds a bit of a twist to the game. Now the numbers you select must be within one number of the next number you select. For example, after choosing this 1, I could not go and choose this 1/4. I have to choose a number that is either to the right, the left, or beneath the 1. Here's another demonstration of this. I had to choose 3 of the 1/4 that would add to 3/4, and you'll notice that I've connected the 1/4. Now we've seen sums stackers and connect sums. The next game I want to show you is Unknown Square. Unknown Square is a great game for enhancing your students' algebraic reasoning. It's similar to puzzles like Sudoku, where you have to find a total sum in a pattern and find missing numbers. On the easiest setting, and having the numbers set to Hindu Arabic, you'll notice that all the numbers are filled in except for the unknown square. You'll notice it's been replaced with the variable a. This would be a great game to introduce your students to equations to. Whether the students know it or not, they're actually solving an equation. An equation that has 2 plus 3 plus a equals 11, or 5 plus a equals 11, and 10 plus a plus 3 equals 19, or 13 plus a equals 19. This would also be a great way to introduce your students to equivalent equations. Equations that have different constant terms, but the same value of a variable. Once you've passed the first level of unknown square on the easy modifier, you'll notice that it adds a second variable, increasing the difficulty and creating a double variable equation on the far left column, a plus 1 plus b equals 7, which challenges the students to then think about a horizontal equation first, before attempting to tackle the double variable vertical equation. Again, this game is great for those mathematical practice standards that encourage teachers to enhance algebraic reasoning and problem-solving ability. Level 3 comes around, and now we have 3 variables, a, b, and c. So the game increases in difficulty as you surpass each level. If you notice, I've changed the difficulty mode to hard. Now you'll see that I have equations with coefficients. 3a equals 6, 3b equals 12, 3c equals 18. I also have vertical equations that are triple variables. A plus b plus c equals 12. A plus b plus c equals 12. A plus b plus c equals 12. This certainly enhances the difficulty, and again, will get your students to think more reasonably with algebra. Your students also won't need to drag the variable's value to all 3 boxes. If I replace this a with a 2, each other a will also get replaced with a 2. So 3 times 2 equals 6. In the second level, I have a coefficient of 2 for each variable, and each variable is also not related to the other one. Now I have a value in each equation as well. So in this first one, I have the equation 2a plus 10 equals 18. This is going to make for great practice for writing equations as well as solving them. Just like on the easy modifier, the hard modifier still continues to increase in difficulty as you surpass each level. You'll notice now that they've added a 4th variable, the variable d, into the problem. Now that I've showed you unknown square, I want you to show you the final game of Math Doodles, Splat Go Round. This game is by far my favorite and is the most engaging out of the 4. Just like in the previous games, you'll notice the 3 modifiers in the bottom right corner. The number modifiers are what I'm going to walk you through right now. Solve mode, infinite mode, and race are still available in this game, and also the easy and hard modifier settings. You'll notice that on this board I have it set to the angle modifier. So the board goes around by 15-degree intervals all the way up to 360 degrees. The purpose of this game is to choose an angle that would rotate the swatter counterclockwise and swat the fly. Here's a demonstration of what the board looks like when it's set to hours. Here's what the board looks like when it's set to fractions. Here's what the board looks like when it's set to percents. And here's the board for when it's set to radians. You'll notice when I've set it to the hard mode, it creates quite a few more boards and quite a few more flies. You'll also notice these tubes, here's one at the top, that connect each board. The tubing is used to move the fly swatter from board to board. So if I moved my fly swatter to here, it would go through the tube and come out here. It's actually really neat. It's actually probably the thing that really attracts the kids to this game the most. Well, that and the swatting of the flies. Once you've actually started the game, you'll notice the modifier boxes have been replaced with selection options. So you can choose any of these options to rotate the swatter counterclockwise and try to get the flies. So for instance, since my swatter is in this position here, I could use the 1/4 answer box to move the swatter counterclockwise and swat this fly first. Here's a demonstration of me doing just that and the animation that occurs right after you've done it. The kids probably get the biggest kick out of this part here. From here I would then need to decide if I would like to swat the remaining fly on this board or use a tube to go to a new board. You'll notice that I've swatted the fly located 1/2 away from the original fly swatted, and then I use the 1/4 marker to move from this board over to this one. Here you'll notice I've changed the number modifier to angles. Even though there are less, this is actually extremely difficult because you have to use these in quite a few combinations to reach every fly. You also have to be very familiar with the angles that make up a circle and think very carefully about how many degrees each fly is away from another. Pattern Twist is the final game you'll notice, however you'll notice that it has Coming Soon. If you click on it, it actually takes you to a new screen which gives you a glimpse of what the game may look like. Here you can see the designer's process of creating the game. He even notes that he is currently designing, programming, and illustrating this new doodle. He's going to make it available in a free update, and until then, you can enjoy this sketch. By the looks of it, this seems to be a more geometrically based game where you have to manipulate shapes to complete a pattern and complete almost a tessellation of sorts. That's it for the Math Doodles app. In my opinion, this is a great app that has a lot of classroom potential. I know for a fact that my school does not personally have any iPad carts. However, I do plan to use this as a projection-based game. I think what I'll do is purchase an adapter for my iPad to be connected to my projector. From there, I'll have students come up and take a turn at each game, and that way each student at their desk can see the game being played and be eager to get a chance to try themselves. I hope you have enjoyed this review of Math Doodles.